What's up, guys? Intelitech Studios here, and today will be my review of the Eureka SuperBroom stick vac. And not honestly too much to say about it. It's a stick vac that I got actually quite a while ago. I just never really bothered to clean it up and do a review on it, but people ask me all the time, hey, why don't you collect X? You know, like you collect upright vacuums, why don't you collect canisters? Why don't you collect stick vacs? Why don't you collect shop vacs or carpet cleaners? They just don't interest me as much as standard full-size upright vacuum cleaners. And I don't really have the same sort of nostalgia towards stick vacs. It explains why, even though I was looking for the Swiffer Sweeper vac for the longest of time, by the time I finally got it and wasn't impressed with it, I had no problem with selling it because I just don't have any sort of attachment or real joy. I don't want to say joy as in like saying like I hate using these, but they just don't interest me in a hobby sense, you know? It's kind of like how I like collecting phones and computers, but someone's be like, oh, why don't you collect PDAs? Well, it's just not a particular fork of that industry that interests me. That's kind of an odd tongue twister, isn't it? So anyways, the Eureka SuperBroom, many family members and people that I know have had this in the past, and it's a nice little stick vac. I don't know if, I believe they still sell these. I believe the only difference with the newer variants that they sell is just this container is clear, like the competing Bissell. But between these two, which one would I rather keep? No, the Bissell. Because it's easier, it's lighter, it's better to work with. It has an actual cord hook, so I can easily release the cord, unlike this Eureka. I can completely take off the handle in a very easy way. It uses, I believe, less amps. No, they use the same amount of amps. They both use 2 amps. But it's not as loud. This one's a little bit louder in typical Eureka fashion. Eureka and Dirt Devil tend to be the more louder brands. Bissell and Hoover tend to be a bit the more quieter brands, but that's not always, a hard and fast rule. But in the case of these stick vacs, it appears to be so. So there's not much to say about it. It has, dual edge cleaning, but you can't really, I think there is a way to remove this base, but it's mostly designed to be used as a stick vac, not as much as a convertible. You can see we've got a little bit more of a flat base design, whereas the Bissell actually has like visible wheels and stuff, but overall you can see the suction opening right there. It's got these little channels on the side to pick up stuff from corners, which works decently well. It gets the job done. And again, looking at that rating sticker, you can see manufactured at the Eureka plant in Bloomington, Illinois, which is not too far away from where I am, so that's always cool about Eureka, at least the older Eurekas. So this Eureka hasn't really traveled all that far, has it, in its lifetime? So, yeah, it's got a little switch up here. It's got this, you just pull this off and you can empty it. One thing that's nice about this that I actually kind of like, well, first off, I don't like this. How you have to like this, and this like section is like, it's not the entire bottom section. There actually is like a little spine that this detaches from, and it's really hard to get with one hand. It's impossible to get with one hand, actually. That's another thing I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's got these little grooves on the sides. Give me one sec. So you can see right here, here's the little intake. You got this little filter, which actually this system works rather well. And I actually kind of like this, how it has this slide out filter, which is kind of tricky to get back in. You kind of have to line it up correctly. But it's got this sort of large filter and it's completely separated. So you have the filtered side and the unfiltered side. You can really tell the difference. It's still not going to be the best filtration. You can see there is dust, by the motor intake. Filtration's not going to be good on this, but that's not what you buy it for. So, you got a little gasket down here. Little gasket doesn't do a whole ton, but it's there. It has good suction. It cleans decently for, again, the very low power that it consumes. And yeah, it works. It works in a pinch. It gets the job done. Not really much to complain about. Obviously, a lot of people I know have had these. I'm pretty sure these have been around much less time than these Bissels have. Because I know the Bissell, I believe it was the Easy... Was it called the Easy Vac? I know the Go Vac was the one where it's mostly handheld, and then there was the Easy Vac that had a little hose that goed over the front, similar to a Hoover Sprint. I believe that was called the Hoover Sprint. I'm not very very good at recalling memories of similar machines to this at the time. From what I understand, this is one of the first machines with this sort of form factor, so in that aspect, it's pretty nice. But I'm not really, too amazed with it. Again, it gets the job done. There's nothing to complain about. It's just there's no real wow factor. But again, it's not designed to be. This is a $20, $30 unit. This Bissell is $20, so very cheap, very inexpensive. Great for hard floors, but I still would feel a little bit safer using the Bissell, since these are all plastic wheels. Some of these need to be oiled a little bit. They can tend to scratch your floors if something gets caught in them and they get stuck. Not as big of an issue with the Bissels, from what I've seen. Something rattling around in that handle. I do like this handle. It's a nice little handle. Nice, easy to grip, easy to use the thing. Obviously, unlike a lot of modern stick vacs, like the Dyson, all its weight is at the bottom, so it's really easy to use. This is perfect for if you want a kid to use it or something. And I do still have that other little Eureka with the handle that snaps down into this. And I actually do like that machine a little bit more, just because you can push the handle down for easy storage. Whereas this kind of, you're just kind of forced with it to be the way it is. It's got a little thing up at the top where you can actually hook it onto something. It's got a little loop right there, so if you want to hook it onto something, it's easy enough to do that. So that's nice. That is one thing that I don't think the Bissell has. No, the Bissell doesn't have that. So that is one area the Eureka does better, is that it's easy to hook up places. Also, its cord hook is actually embedded into the cord wrap, whereas on the Bissell it's a separate hook that's underneath it. So that's a little difference. And it works on, well, I was going to say it works on all surfaces, but apparently it likes to get caught on my carpet pretty easily. Especially when pulling it back. Yeah, it like gets caught. But whatever. We can see it run real quick. Obviously, it works better on low pile carpets and floors than it does on high pile carpets. It's obviously not designed for high pile carpets. But it does kind of pick up stuff. It doesn't appear to pick up stuff as good as the Bissell for the price. And definitely not as good as something with a rotating brush like the Hoover Lynx. Or even, something like, I forgot the name of it, but Eureka does have a version of this that has the Quick Up, I think that's called, that has the brush on the bottom. And I did have one of those, and I actually do regret kind of getting rid of it because it was very nice. And I would recommend, if you're looking for the modern equivalent of this, spending the extra couple dollars and getting the turbo variant of this that does have the spinning brush, because that I think is a lot better, and I believe that one also has a clear container now, very similar to the Bissell's. And Bissell also now, I believe, just recently came out with a turbo version of this machine to compete with the Eureka Quick Up. So I would probably prefer getting the one with the turbo brush attachment, even if you're hardly ever going to utilize it. But if you have nothing but floors and you don't have any sort of area rugs, then this is a perfectly good option, as is very similar machines to it. So it works well, and I can't really say much else about it. It's a Eureka, and it's a broom that is super. So anyway, guys, this is Inteltech Studios signing out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you guys think about the Eureka Super Broom in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.